everybody. How's it going? I had some requests to do some of these really quick tips, not talking about configuring the entire remote, but kind of how I'm doing single tasks and one-off items. And one of them was Home Assistant and how to properly work with Home Assistant. And good timing, because I was looking at this earlier and I noticed a whole lot of my Home Assistant stuff is unavailable right now. And so I went to Home Assistant and I noticed, oh, there's an update from Jack Powell's Home Assistant integration. So why do I need a Home Assistant integration when I have the integration on the remote? Well, that's a good question. It's because the remote integration allows you to see Home Assistant things in the remote, and the Home Assistant integration allows you to see the remote and control the remote from Home Assistant. So it's kind of a two-way street, and each one needs their thing. So I'm going to go ahead and update my Home Assistant, and I'm going to, okay, it's updated. So now I need to restart Home Assistant, and I always have to look. Oh, that's because it's up. No. Where are we at here? Settings, system, restart. I know I could probably get by with just a quick reload, but there's one thing I've definitely noticed with the Remote 3, specifically, but also with Home Assistant. It's anytime you kind of get in and do a bunch of this stuff, it's always best to reboot when you're done. Sometimes it's a good idea to reboot before you start as well, just to kind of clear out the cache and just get a nice fresh place to start from, I guess. So as this gets booted up, I was going to just mention that what I'm going to show you here with the Home Assistant integration for the remote, this can be done at any time. It doesn't only have to be done, or you don't have to wait for an update or something like that. You can always come in here and click on, so here's my Remote 3. You can always come in here and click on Edit Device, and that's not what you want to click on. Click on Settings, okay? So you can configure the integration, or you can configure entities to share with Remote 3. And this is like when you add a new device that you want to get access to, this is where you come to do that. Let's just, for fun, let's just see, they're still, they're still unavailable. So let's click on the old cog here and let's configure entities. And here is all my scripts, my sensors, various lights, like direct control of individual lights. Here's various automation switches. Here's, again, some individual lights, more sensors. I can look at my iPad battery level, see if it's charging or not. And I can send all this to the remote. Now, the sensor displays on the remote are not great, and I don't tend to use many of them, if any. But they're there, and hopefully we'll be able to do some more fun things with those sensors in the future. These are sensors that tell that where the kaleidoscope is telling everything, telling my masking system how to control what aspect ratio is currently playing and where to put the masking system in there. So so I'm going to just click submit and finish. But again, that is where you would go if you added some new lights that you wanted to do there, you just come to this, you click on that settings wheel, and you find them in here, and let's just do something here for fun. Let's do my iPad Pro battery level. Submit. Finish. Okay, so now, hopefully we're able to get this kind of layout on the phone soon. This is gone now because that's not yet available. So let's go back over to the configurator, start setup, click next, and it says we're done. Let's see if they're still not showing up, but let's look here for a moment. iPad Pro battery level. So it is here. So let's go back to this and let's just do this. The other thing is sensors only seem to be able to be added on home pages, not in activities. So let's just add a new page for my iPad, and let's add an entity, and let's search for iPad, and there's the battery level. So let's add that. Okay, and now there. Well, it's there. So it's telling me the iPad is, the sensor's off. Let me see what happens if I'm not sure what will read in the configurator versus on the remote, but let's see if this will change it at all. If I go to the remote and go to that page, I can tell you, even though I don't have it on camera, I will grab my phone and snap a photo of it. You can see it was reconnecting there, and now it says unknown because this is off the dock. But I'm going to take a photo of it and show you that it says 100%, and I will edit that into the video so you can see what we're looking at here. So this and photo, fancy. Okay, so you can add those sensors here. Let's see. I think it's time to reboot the remote. So what you're not seeing is me just rebooting the remote control here. Okay, so I've now rebooted the remote and I've rebooted the dock, and now you can see that all these are available again. So again, I've been down here recording these videos for a little bit now today, and I've done a lot with the programming and the configuration of the remote, and I can't recommend reboots enough when you're doing this stuff. But so these are all the entities that I have being sent from Home Assistant to the remote. I will actually say that there are a lot of these that I can remove now because I'm no longer using them. Like I'll remove the iPad Pro, I'll remove the JVC. I don't need this one right now anymore. These are all buttons that I created scripts for because I didn't understand how some of these integrations worked. I didn't realize that if I used the media player instead of trying to use remote commands, that all those commands were built in to the whatchamacallit, into the media players, and they would appear. So I was creating a whole lot of scripts for individual button presses that I could then use on the remote just to control certain things that actually ended up being, like, for example, you saw all those what did I just delete? Lumagen button presses. Like these are all Home Assistant Lumagen button presses. I don't need these anymore because I'm using the integrations. So I'm going to just get rid of these, and this is the activity that I'm cleaning these up from. So I'm just going to clean that out of there, because if you come in here and look at the user interface for the Lumagen and edit that, all these Lumagen buttons are on the Radiance Pro remote, and that does not show up as individual commands in the integration. That shows up as this. So this is the Radiance Pro remote, the Radiance Pro media player, and then several different sensors that I could look at if I wanted to, but I don't. Those are in there. I'm not using them for anything. But yeah, so that is kind of how you do it. You can also just look at your entities and look at them this way. But if I go over here to the settings of the unfolded circle, again, I can go in here and I can configure. I really think it would be nice here, but also very cluttered, if I could see, like, if I could see here a nice list of what these 26 entities that are currently being shared with the remote are. You know, it wouldn't be necessarily clean and neat, but like these are the entities, which is basically a control or a sensor. These are what I'm sharing with the remote right now, I think. That doesn't even seem like it. I've got these three, definitely. Anyway, let's go back here. Let's go here. So there are 26 entities, but I can share any more of these if I wanted to. Like, these are sensors, lights. I don't really know how to talk about this one, and I hope this video is going to be useful to some folks. Like these theater, bottom, north, and top, and then there was south too. Those are no longer even in existence, so I don't want to share those. This is a group of lights, but yeah, I am like I've said before too, that I am using I'm using the Home Assistant integration less and less, because so many new integrations have been developed just in the last couple months since the Remote 3 began shipping, that I don't really need it anymore. I'm using different lighting scenes, and that's really it. And I rarely even use those, because my Home Assistant is still working independently of the remote to monitor the Kaleidoscape and the Apple TV. And when I hit play, it sees the media players in Home Assistant, and it activates the scene that I've set up in my Home Assistant integrations. So that's nothing different. That's why, the reason why I do that, if we're going to talk about Home Assistant, I know how to explain this. The reason I like keeping my playback devices are integrated into Home Assistant and the Remote 3. I'm using the Remote 3 for control. I'm using it for basically direct control, playback, navigation, and the menus and things like that. And in Home Assistant, Home Assistant is constantly monitoring the state of the Kaleidoscape and the Apple TV, and it can't monitor the Blu-ray player right now, but it's monitoring the state of those, which means that when I hit play on Kaleidoscape, it sees the Kaleidoscape going into playback mode and it turns off the lights. It activates the scene in Home Assistant that I've told it to when it senses that the Kaleidoscape or the Apple TV is in playback. Now, I also have those exact same scenes here in the remote so that I can access them directly. If I don't want to hit pause or stop, but I do need to turn the lights up for a second, I can just pull up, the right page of the remote to turn on those lighting scenes, but then I can turn them back off too. The reason I like doing it that way, by using the Remote 3 for control and the Home Assistant for automation, I could program all this stuff into macros so when I hit play on the Remote 3, it triggers the lighting scene. But if I do that, then what happens if the Remote 3 is dead one day and I pick up the Kaleidoscape remote? Then I have to go find the light switch or pick up my phone and activate those scenes independently. Whereas by letting Home Assistant monitor and trigger activities or trigger scenes based on the status of these players, it doesn't matter what remote I use. It doesn't matter if I pick up my phone. It doesn't matter if I trigger it from Home Assistant or the Remote 3 or my phone or the IR remote. It sees it and the automations still happen. So long way around, but honestly, I'm relying on Home Assistant less and less. I don't need to bring in all my individual lights into the remote. I don't see the need for it. If you do, it's possible. If I wanted to, let's say, okay, so in my theater, let's go to, well, is it here? No. In my theater, I have the Sidewalls. These are the two LED strips that go floor to ceiling on one on each wall right across from each other. Purely decorative. But let's say I want to bring this light control onto my remote individually outside of a scene or a script. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go to Devices, and I'm going to go to Unfolded Circle. And I'm going to go back to the same place, Configure, and I'm just going to search for Sidewalls. There it is. So boom, Submit, Finish. So now, if I refresh, a bunch of those came back. Here's Sidewalls. And I can, what am I in? I'm in Home Assistant. So these are all configured there. Okay. So I need to clear them out on both sides. But anyway, I could go to the activities now, and I'm going to go to watch Blu-ray because I've decided I want to do this anyway. Because like I was just mentioning that the Blu-ray does not trigger in Home Assistant because it's not connected because it's more of a dumb device right now. Someone's apparently got an integration for the remote that's starting to come alive for older players. But let's just do this. I'm going to add Sidewalls. Maybe I'm not. Oh, it would be press, I bet. So you can see all of those that are brought in. First I need to add it to the activity. Okay. It's not here yet. So I'm going to, let me back up and talk about this quick in full. So I added the Sidewalls entity via Home Assistant to the remote. And I did that from within here, and I clicked here and I added it to the Remote 3. Okay? So now in the web configurator, you can see in my entities, it's there and it's labeled with Home Assistant. So now if I go to my activities, and maybe I want to be able to turn those on individually, I can't add it to the activity yet. I can't add it to a button yet because it's not included in the activity yet. So I go to the settings page and I click plus up here by included entities, and I do a search for Sidewalls. I click that, and then I click add. And now if I go to, let's just go to the user interface, and I'm going to do this, do an icon. Now you can see turn on and turn off for Sidewalls. I can set the color, I can set the color temperature, brightness, brightness percentage, can toggle it on and off. So I've got all of those controls for those lights just by adding that one entity to the remote. Okay, so let's say I want to do this and do that. Now I've got a button that I need to edit because that's a TV. So let's do LED. No, let's do light. Let's do those as they don't, and granted you can add custom icons, which I've done a lot of, but I haven't added them for this because I will probably just delete it anyway. But let's just call it a lightning bolt. Okay, so now this is a toggle button that will turn those side lights off and on, and off and on and off and on as often as I press it. Okay, so that is how you do it. Eventually that slider will be programmable, and I could make that into the brightness slider. Right now it's only able to be used as the media player of the main media player entity in the remote. So it's only volume right now. I don't have it programmed to anything in this one, or it might be programmed to it, and I didn't do it. But this is now a button in there. But like we were talking about the lighting and how the Blu-ray player doesn't trigger my lighting scenes. So you know what? I think it would probably be a good idea to add those lighting scenes to this home page. So I'm going to just add an icon, and we'll do welcome lighting. Press. And we'll do another icon, and we'll do playback, movie. No. Must be what's it called? I forget what theater play. Okay. And now icon, and we would do that warning is just saying I can't add a media player down there because it's too low on the page and there's not enough space. And what is the other one? Intermission. So there's 3 lighting scenes, and maybe I want to make them bigger like this. And intermission, I use the flashlight because it's just a nice dim lighting. And this this is the lights off, so I did this. Okay, it's this simple. And this one is lights on, and there. So now on my main page, when I'm in the activity, okay, the main page, the main home page of my remote is still my activities. But once I'm into this watch Blu-ray activity, the main page that is going to show up when I pick up the remote is going to have eject, and it's going to have my lighting controls on there. And it's just handy dandy, and it's custom, and it's exactly how I need it to be. The Lumagen page is still going to have all that. Probably don't need this lighting page now, but it's not hurting anybody. I'm going to leave it there. I might end up getting a Blu-ray player that has a media player entity to it, so I could have that display here, and then I might want to move those lighting out of here, because if there's a media player entity, there's automation, and I don't need those on that main screen. All right, so that is using Home Assistant to bring in the entities that you need. It's also a little theory, opinion. It's an op-ed on why you shouldn't bring every single control into your remote, into the activities like that. So let's, yeah. It's bringing what you need into the activity. Have more control, but still don't overdo it. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Yeah. Any questions, leave them in the comments. I'm sure there will be questions on this one because it's very involved, but it's also not that difficult. You have to install both integrations on the remote and in Home Assistant. You have to connect them, and then you tell Home Assistant what you want to have access to in the remote. This is important because if I just put every entity in the remote, it would be impossible to find anything. I don't even have a big Home Assistant integration or setup, but I've got close to 300 entities, and I don't want that all on my remote. So while it is an extra step to add the entities in Home Assistant to exactly what you want to be in to display in the remote, it's an extra step, but you should probably be thankful that it's there. Otherwise, you'd find yourself wading through a ton of stuff you're never going to want to put on your remote. So yeah, that's that. Stick around. Make sure you've liked this video and subscribed. Put your questions in the comments below. If there are links down there, they are affiliate links. They help justify the time I put into creating these videos. I do not have an affiliate link. I am not making any money from Unfolded Circle for this. I just think it's the best remote that is out there for the non-custom installer community. If you don't want to have to pay someone to come out to your house and reprogram your remote just because you got a new Blu-ray player, this is the best remote for you. It blows the harmony away once you get it up and running. You just have to go through the growing pains of configuring it, and that's what I'm trying to help out with. So if you see an Amazon link or a audio advice link, use it. That helps me out, helps me justify the time I spend down here recording this stuff. All right? Questions in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe because there will be more of these on the way. All right? Thank you much. Have a great day.